The Wisconsin State Assembly reached a deal to fund American Family Field renovations, but not everyone in the Senate is on board. Tonight on Capitol Connection, CBS 58's Emilee Fannon, WisPolitics editor J.R. Ross discussed the holdouts and the compromises a new deal might need in order to pass.
First, going to start with how it looks like we're going to be going into extra innings in the state Senate, as they do not have enough votes right now to pass the Brewers Stadium funding bill. Now, there's a public hearing on the matter this week, an attempt by the co-authors to try to win over, not over Republicans, but Democrats in the state Senate. And what the focus was about a series of changes that we've talked about for several weeks now in order to get that support from some senators. We're talking about a ticket tax on non-brewers event. We're talking about a workforce study to look at possible development around the stadium, you know, like a title town in Green Bay, a Deer District outside Pfizer. And then there's also the talk of having an audit of the stadium district board. And that is something that you talked to some Democrats about this week, is that's kind of what they're sitting on as well.
So, all right, so we need 17 votes. How are they going to get them? Where are they going to find them? We've all talked to Republicans who know that there are not 17 GOP votes in the chamber right now for it. So if you're going to get Democratic votes to pass this bill, you would naturally start with Milwaukee, the delegation there. Chris Larson is pretty much a hard no. He rips in this thing on a regular basis on social media. Tim Carpenter didn't testify at the hearing this past week in the Capitol, but he registered. He turned a slip and said he's against the bill as it is. I talked to him afterward. He mentioned an audit of the finance of the district board, but he wants it done before you spend any money on this thing. He talked about ideas such as lowering the cost of taxpayers by getting more from the team and the business community to pay for things. He talked about even the idea of having a new lottery game, with all the proceeds from that lottery game going toward the cost of American Family Field. Also a clawback provision, which that would basically say if and when the Brewers are sold, there would be a piece of that money would go to the taxpayers to pay off a chunk of the stadium cost. That's not going to happen. Rob Brooks from Saukville, Republican, who is one of the co-authors of the bill, addressed that during the hearing, saying, look, it doesn't happen in Major League Baseball. It's not going to happen here. Okay, Lena Taylor, her office, in talking to them, has said she's in the no camp right now. She'll look at amendments, see if that gets her into. So it's not a great start to get Democrats on board when you need at least a handful to pass this bill. So where do you go? What is the impetus for a Senator Path out in La Crosse, for example, to support the Brewers bill? You could get union interest to kind of lean on those Democrats and say, look, this is good for us. We want you to support it. But what's their motivation? Mark Spreitzer and Beloit, what's their motivation to support a Brewer bill as it is right now?
Right, and when I talked to Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu this week, also, he mentioned, you know, we got to be careful on what changes, because we don't want the Brewers to be then against the bill and not signing at the end of the day to extend their lease. And of course, the other big person involved in this is Governor Tony Evers. Now, we know he supports the bill that the Assembly passed 2 weeks ago that didn't include any of these series of changes that we're talking about. But you know, not getting the sense that it's, you know, do or die for him if some amendments are added, but that's just also something to watch going forward. Now let's get to another topic that has been widely debated for many years, is how race is involved in scholarships. For when you go to college, you apply for loans, scholarships, etc. There's now another effort by Republicans that are seeking to target this, that would basically ban colleges and universities from considering race-based criteria if you're applying for a scholarship, a loan, a grant, basically all programs that help you financially. So the GOP authors of the bill said the intent of this bill is to not make it only for students of colors to have these opportunities, it's for all disadvantaged students. End of the day, don't think Governor Evers is going to support this bill, but it talks to a much larger issue here, Jared, that we've seen Republicans try to target race-based criteria and DEI on campuses.
This is an outgrowth of the U.S. Supreme Court decision knocking down the use of race in admissions. This was a step that was telegraphed by Robin Vos, the Assembly Speaker. It also fits into Vos's opposition to DEI programs, going so far as to say he will not approve raises for UB employees unless they cut DEI. So my question is, if and when this bill fails, whether it's because of an Evers veto or through both houses, do we see a lawsuit that says, look, federal courts, you just ruled this way for the U.S. Supreme Court on admissions. This should be applied to these other programs as well.
All right, that will do it for this week. Thanks so much for joining us.